How's everybody doing out there? I'd like to tell everybody why I picked the C9 over the Sony A9G television set. Now, as you guys know, I'm a Sony pony, and most of my TVs that I've owned, the majority have been Sony TVs. But this is the first time I actually picked a LG TV that I actually liked, and all the way as far as it does all the bells and whistles for me, like most of the Sony's TVs normally do. And as you know, I went up to the high-end store. I go to the highest end store here in the United States, and one of these stores, they let you have the TV side by side. You can mess with the remotes. You could do the whole nine thing as you would be at your home. So the last 2 weeks, like I mentioned in the previous video, I've been looking for a new OLED TV. I had the 950G and looked pretty close to and similar to my 930E, so I decided to try to shake up things a little bit and see if I could get something different in a whole new way. So the number one thing is the price, of course. Price is a factor. $1,200 difference total versus the Sony and the LG. Sony is just so much higher that you're going to pay for that Sony name. Number two, we're actually still in the number one category, would be, I think these are tied actually, the future proof. It's 2.1. It has an extra bonus, extra bells and whistles, so you can hook up your PlayStation 5 coming up in the future, and it's actually a true 2.1. So it does that on all the outputs, all the HDMI outputs, which is a very nice plus. Also the motion. Now, since I've had the 17 different TVs, there's something glaring I noticed in the motion on playing one of the videos on, is it on Netflix? I can't remember what it's on, but it's this scene of the waterfall. The last 3 years I've been playing it in every single TV that I've owned, all 18 TVs I've owned over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. I've always had problems with this section, and this played right through it with no hitch, no giddy up, no nothing. I was majorly impressed when it played right through there with seamless motion. So that's one of the real world things I've noticed about the motion. And I say real world because everybody has all these stats. And I'm going to come at you with a few stats as well. I normally don't do that, but I'd like for you to, see some of the stats I'm getting off of ratings or RTings. And these stats are pretty much across the board of any reputable high-end reviewer. So they all come close within, a few numbers with all the high-end reputable viewers. I was gonna say also for some reason they took out a gig on the Sony A9G. No one has the answer why. The answer, and my hypothesis is basically they're trying to they're putting most of their efforts into their 8K TV sets like the Z9G. That's $12,000, and they're starting to scale back just a little hair on some of the smaller things that maybe not make too much of a difference in the TV's performance. So nobody said a word about that either when I tried to contact Sony earlier today. Or not today, but this is actually, I tried to contact them about a week ago about that. When I was digging up information and trying to make a decision on the TVs. Also, this is something that I've noticed. In Dolby Vision, it doesn't hold a candle to the LG. The LG has a system on chip where the Sony, it was a lot dimmer, and it did Dolby Vision just horribly. So there's no comparison in Dolby Vision, the LG versus the Sony. LG wins hands down with that category, and they're coming out with 300 different movies and content. Not 300. Excuse me. They're coming out with more content in Dolby Vision. I think it's going to be like 85% of it's going to be Dolby Vision coming out in all the new videos and stuff. So a lot of people are signing on to that. If you don't believe me, ask Apple and go to get an Apple TV and check them out. There's actually a 200 to 300 nit difference in real scene content on the Dolby Vision and HDR. So that was huge. It's just too dim for me. System on chip, I did mention that as well. And I did mention the 80% of the new movies, so let's move on. Um, the looks, as far as the Dolby Vision, I forgot to add that it looks the same as my 930E basically and my 950G. They look the same. They have that dark look to it, very dark on Sony. They don't do the Vision. It's weird how it's so much of a big difference. That is one of the things I've really noticed when I was up at the store, and then I brought it home as well. And I did mention I did have the B6, the C7, the E7, and I had the Sony A1E. And here's the kicker with the Sony A1E. It's 623 nits real scene brightness, and it's 803 on a 2% window. That's with the Sony old school A1E. Okay? Now on the A9G, it's 593 nits and 689 nits on a 2% window. So 593 on real scene brightness in the nit departments. That's real scene. That's what you're seeing firsthand in person. That's your HDR content. That's what you're looking at as real scene. Okay. Now here's the difference. There, if you noticed, there's not much. The Sony A1E is a little bit brighter, barely, than the doggone A9G. Now here's the difference, though. The tone mapping is better, of course, on the newer TV, the A9G, and the ABL is rendered a lot better now on the new A9G. With all fairness on that. Okay. The C9 LG, 726 nits real scene brightness. And the 2% window, it's 855 nits. And it can sustain 800 nits on a 10% window. The real scene brightness, like I said, that makes the difference on the TV. And look at this picture right here, for instance. This is you. And the funny thing about it, you're looking at it in. You're not even looking at it in 4K like I'm looking at it. So you're getting a dimmed down resolution through YouTube and thousands of miles of, internet, and that's how you're getting your picture versus mine's right here looking at me in the face, and it's stunning. By the way, C8 owners, your TV is 666 nits real scene brightness. Just thought I'd throw that out there. We're not really talking about the C8 right now anyway, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. And a lot of people are comparing their stats on the older LGs, and they don't have any comparisons on like the newer, like the tone mappings better on the LG. And I'm just going to go over a few things right now because I've already been on here for like 8 minutes. I don't want to bore everything, but these are some of the things that I've noticed that are huge on this TV set. Okay, the looks like I didn't know we got a commercial right in the middle of the viewing of the program here, but we had a little commercial, so I pressed pause on that to, so it looks decent. It was a football commercial, but anyway, I would like to close this real quick. I'm not going to give you everything away right now, but that's some of the reasons I picked the TV up front for a quick 8 to 10 minute video. Also, Hdtv Test Vincent, he got 555 nits on his A9G real scene brightness. So he's gotten actually lower than Archinks on the brightness there. And I meant to say nits actually on that, so not, brightness, nits, whatever you want to, however you want to phrase it, but real scene brightness. That's what Vincent got on his. So many people that love Vincent, which I do as well. I go by a lot of what he says about my TVs, and I had to eat a lot of humble pie when I had that 930 as far as stats, and as far as the black bars and all that talk on the 950G. But this TV right here is the most perfect TV I've ever bought. Better than any TV that I've owned. I'm a Sony pony, as you guys seen. I've owned a lot of Sony TVs, Z9D, a 930E, 900E, 275 inches of those. Had the A1E as well. So that's just to name a few I've had. So love Sony. I had an older Sony, some of the first gen ones about 10 years ago as well. But this LG, the tone mapping, the upscaling, And that's another thing I mentioned. The upscaling is just phenomenal on this TV. I actually like it better than the X1 Extreme chip because it doesn't have so many jaggies, and it's not over sharpened. On the X1 Extreme, it was a little over sharpened. Now, was on that. In all fairness, that was my 950G, and that was a mid to high level TV set. It might be a little bit different on the A9G, but I got a feeling I'd still probably pick the C9 as well. There's a reason why this TV, so many people love this TV, and it has overwhelming response even amongst people that love LED TV sets. It gives you that LED punch, super bright for an LED TV with the OLED blacks, and you can't beat it. You just simply can't beat it, guys. So I'm going to cut it off now. Hope everybody's gonna have a great day, evening, what have you, and I'm gonna come back with some more stuff, more content for you guys. But those are the facts, and you could look all this up and research it yourself. From reviewer to reviewer, there's not much difference between the two, as I just mentioned, the two Artings and Vincent there. So check for some of this stuff yourself, guys, and you guys have a good one.